With a new decision out of the Supreme Court protecting LGBTQ Americans from employment discrimination, will the Trump administration's recent healthcare rule changes be impacted? Last year, the Trump administration proposed a new rule that would relax non-discrimination protections put in place by the Obama administration. Among other things, these protections prevented discrimination based on gender identity in the healthcare system.
Enter the Trump administration. When they've rewritten this rule, what they did is sort of redefine sex non-discrimination. Instead of defining sex to include gender identity or someone who's transgender, they want to use a biological sex definition. Their words, not mine. But it would be a very narrow, sort of restrictive definition.
There's been a lot of pushback from groups lobbying against this rule, primarily because they worry it would lead to discrimination for transgender individuals seeking healthcare. The Department of Health and Human Services issued a final version of this rule in mid-June of this year, and the administration's rationale for the rule is that it will save money over time and maintain religious freedom protections.
I think this rule is important to solve some long-running religious freedom problems.
Democrats and civil rights groups have opposed this rule and called for it to be rescinded by the administration, citing that transgender individuals already experience enough discrimination in many settings, including healthcare.
As soon as we take 2 steps forward to take, one step back. But we need to really ensure that we're putting pressure on our elected officials to hold this administration accountable.
The Supreme Court issued a decision on LGBTQ protections just a few days after HHS finalized its rule, and that decision prevents employers from firing an employee over their sexual orientation.
Really pointing to the word sex and saying that includes essentially sexual orientation and gender identity. So the Supreme Court has ruled pretty much opposite of what you had HHS saying.
Activists say that this ruling can be used as precedent as legal groups begin challenging this rule in court.
I'm sure there are more coming. I'm aware of lawsuits that are going to be filed by the Human Rights Campaign, Lambda Legal. Both of those are sort of, bedrock LGBT civil rights organizations. Having followed ACA litigation or any kind of healthcare litigation, I'm expecting a number of Democratic state attorneys general to file too.
This also might affect another rule that is expected to be finalized soon from HHS that will allow HHS grantees to discriminate based on religious criteria, such as adoption agencies denying working with same-sex couples. So there's a lot to watch in this space.